Hello MBA aspirants, in this video we shall talk about 5 success mantras in interviews. Understand the challenge. The interview follows a buyer-seller interface. The panel is the buyer and you are the seller. The buyer has specific needs and you have to design the value proposition accordingly. Now what it means is that in a seller-buyer situation, the seller has to offer something specific to the need which the buyer or the customer has. Looking at the MBA panel, the panel has some very specific needs. They're looking for people, they're looking for candidates who are high in terms of their initiative and energy, people who have a strong willingness to learn, have a strong task orientation, have a temperament suitable for teamwork, and a capacity for hard work. Now this is broadly the need spectrum which the panel has. And you have to design the entire customer value proposition accordingly. You have to satisfy one or more of these needs. If your profile is able to satisfy these needs, obviously the profile will be looked at in a favorable manner. Number 2, create competitive advantage. Competitive advantage would mean that you are offering something over and above the competitors. There is something in you, there is something in your proposition which is superior to what the other competitors are offering. The value proposition should be based on a mapping between your core competence and the expectation quotient. Now, core competence is the prime skill which you have. It's your strength. It's that skill which differentiates you as compared to other competitors. And the expectation quotient is what the panel is looking for. As I said a while back, the panel has a specific need. The MBA panel is looking for certain skills. So if your core competence is able to conform to what the panel is looking for, the situation will be a win-win situation. Demonstrate competence through relevant achievements and contextually strong inputs. Now we do suggest that you need to talk about your achievements in a certain way, but please make sure you are not arrogant and you are not dangerously submissive or modest also. So wherever there is an opportunity to talk about an achievement, make sure that you step forward and you are able to offer something to the panel. For example, if you have been a consistent academic performer, there is no harm in saying it. But once you make this kind of a statement that you have been consistently delivering in terms of academic brilliance, then you have to measure up to their expectation. Because the moment you talk about being consistent on a particular skill, on a particular parameter, you are bound to be assessed on that parameter. So keep in mind all these things while sharing your achievements with them. Achievements may be extracurricular, they may be academic, they may be societal, it depends on the context. And contextually strong would mean that it has to be relevant to what the panel wants to know. For example, if the panel wants to understand your ability to learn, then you have to talk about your ability to learn from academic as well as non-academic sources. Now this is an opportunity for you to talk about your extracurricular engagements and what has been the learning from these various engagements. Number 3, lead strategically. The panel is there to assess you, not intimidate you. It's very important for you to understand the panel is not there to scare you. They are there to assess you on a set of skills which are relevant to the management program, which are relevant to their B school, which are relevant to the corporate setup. The panel likes to be led. They will follow an action-reaction mechanism. Whatever you say will go into the next question. By and large, this is true. They want you to lead them to those questions which would be your strong domains. Because if you are not able to hold them there, then the probability of holding them in an area which is not your strength is significantly less. And since time is a constraint, therefore, the panel would like to connect with you, at least on a priority basis, with your strong areas. Seize all challenges which offer leadership opportunities. Now, wherever there is an opportunity to offer a value proposition in terms of your leadership skills, don't hold back, take a step forward and share an example, an experience, an illustration with the panel. Introduction is the biggest such opportunity. Now, this is the time when you can lead the panel. You can talk about your strengths. You can talk about your hobbies. You can talk about your city, your family. You can talk about an experience which has shaped your personality. So all this is going to be a statement, a part of a statement which will lead the panel into the next question. For example, the minute you say, I am a creative and passionate person with good interpersonal skills, the panel is bound to ask you on creativity, on passion, and on interpersonal skills. So make sure you're able to lead the panel in a strategic manner. The fourth mantra is communicate effectively. Communication has two dimensions, verbal and non-verbal. Verbal is the usage of words, and non-verbal includes areas like body language, facial expression, and overall energy. Effectiveness of communication is measured by its ability to achieve the desired outcome. For example, if you're looking at verbal communication, you have to ensure that you are fluent, you are articulate enough, and you are able to modulate your voice so as to connect with the panel more effectively. On the other hand, your non-verbal communication is assessed right from the time when you enter the room to the time you leave the room. The way you walk up to the panel, the steps you take to reach the panel, the overall set of expressions on your face, the presence of confidence and the lack of nervousness, everything is being indicated by your body language. So your communication, both verbal and non-verbal, has to be effective. It has to be goal-oriented. And number 5, behave appropriately. Behavior is under scanner right from the time you enter the room. As I said a while back, your non-verbal communication is a significant part of your behavior. It defines your behavior, and it comes under the scanner the minute you enter the room and you walk up to the panel. The way you carry the file, the way you establish an eye contact with the panelists, everything has an impact on your overall behavioral response to the situation. Reflected in things as basic as your dress and the way you organize the interview file. What you're wearing is also a part of your behavior to that particular situation, and the way you organize your file talks about your ability to uphold the expectation in terms of prioritizing information, presenting yourself in a correct behavioral manner, and this is what the panel is looking for. Certain panels have psychologists to assess your behavior. They may be there to understand your body language, the way you behave to certain questions under stress, how do you conduct yourself under high levels of stress, and how do you connect with the panel in all these situations. So yes, if we look at these 5 mantras, I'm sure you'll be able to perform better if you take a note of what is to be done under each of these mantras. Thank you and best wishes.